Elias Pettersson trade talk is not going away anytime soon. And in this video, we're diving into the latest on Petey and not Pittsburgh. Instead, we're talking about the LA Kings and what they've got going on, because this is a team that keeps on sticking around the Elias Pettersson bubble, and it doesn't seem like they're going to go away until at least Pettersson either gets traded or until a big enough move down the middle comes for this Kings squad. The Kings ended up bringing a number of guys back. They signed Corey Perry, they signed Erik Haula, Scott Laughton. These are all names that will help out the middle to bottom six of the team. But none of these guys are quote-unquote first-line center caliber players. Now, you can say Elias Pettersson may not actually be that either, but he has been that at one point in his career. So, is it the LA Kings that think about reviving this guy? Let's dive into the latest from Farhan Lalji, who made an appearance on Donnie and Dolly on July 2nd to find out. Lalji said this on Donnie and Dolly regarding the Canucks: "I do know there has been some conversation around the Elias Pettersson situation, and I do know that the LA Kings made a call." Oh boy. The trade call has been confirmed. They did call on this guy. They did ask about this guy. Obviously, the fact that Pettersson is still a Canuck at the time of recording this audio means the call did not actually go anywhere, but calling is more activity than not calling. So, I feel like that's an important note to go out there and establish. Who would ever think $11 million a year would be a bargain? LOL. I mean, he's making less money than Nico Hischier now, so there you go. Patriot Sam says, "I think LA would be open for taking him on that salary, but they don't have the cap space anymore unless they move a major salary like Drew Doughty." Now, this is a deal that would be pretty hard to pull off. Goodness, Pettersson for Doughty? No way. Actually, you know what? I'm not opposed. Not opposed. Drew Doughty as a Canuck would be hilarious. But either way, Farhan Lalji also said this regarding Pettersson and the Kings: "It was not a formal offer, but I don't think what they were discussing providing back was necessarily going to be good enough yet. But I do think those conversations are going to continue." Now, obviously, because this came on day 2 of free agency, Lalji isn't necessarily saying that, oh, all the new signings that LA did, they're going to prevent any big game hunting out of the LA Kings. Oh, they got Erik Haula. They don't want Pettersson anymore. That's not really what Lalji is insinuating. He's saying that, yeah, they could probably continue these conversations. LA could still be looking for that top-tier guy. Hi, my name is says LA can get Elias Pettersson, Filip Hronek, Max Sasson. Vancouver could get Byfield, Trevor Moore, and Brandt Clark. Oh boy, that is quite the trade, isn't it? Now, for what it's worth, you have Austin Stanovich, a Kings fan, going out there and saying, "I'm so torn on Pettersson. On one hand, at his best, he is exactly what the Kings need. A number 1 C who can totally change the outlook for the team. On the other hand, there's plenty of evidence that that player is gone, and paying a second-line center $11.6 million a year is not the way forward." Either way, the report stands true. The LA Kings did make a call, so we'll see where that goes over the next little while. He's a 2C who got the bag for having 2 career years. They'd have to retain $3 million for me to be interested. Well, you know, I think that's misleading. And Austin says that too. Just looking at the raw numbers, he hovered right around the 70-point per 82 game played mark prior to the last 2 seasons, including those monster years when he entered his prime. He has just been a 2C the past 2 seasons for sure, but was more than that prior. That's still not great for a 1C who got paid like a 100-point player. They were expecting that to continue. The most recent years are what matters. If those numbers fell off because he was pouting, that's not attractive at all, especially if you're trying to build a winning culture. Yeah, I'm not sure about that, man. I do not think Elias Pettersson having attitude problems contributed to him declining in overall points. I would say the problems, quote-unquote, were players on his team and the environment of the team and how it just didn't really fit with the personality that Elias Pettersson has. This is a guy that seemed to have thrived in a very specific culture and environment. So seeing that not work out after Bruce Boudreau got the can and after Andrei Kuzmenko got traded, it was quite the stark decline, but it's one that I don't think Elias Pettersson deserves the full blame on 100%. There also is this angle that I have been seeing popping around social media as well, whether or not LA is a primary destination for Pettersson because of him and his wife and their focus on creating content. I mean, not saying that you can do the same things in Pittsburgh, but I will say I understand if Pettersson is not really interested in going over to the Penguins strictly because Pittsburgh is not LA. You know, the cities are one thing, the city is another thing. I've seen some people say, oh, Elias doesn't want to go to Pittsburgh because he's afraid of being held accountable by a guy like Sidney Crosby. I don't think it's that. If anything, I feel like Crosby would be one of the best people that Elias Pettersson could be around in this hopeful rejuvenation stage of his NHL career. It does seem, though, more so like LA would be a preferable destination just from the personality standpoint, you know? Everybody likes to talk about Elias Pettersson being quiet and how he had a prickly personality at the beginning of his NHL career, but you gotta remember when Pettersson was on the first few years of his NHL ELC, I mean, we were talking about this guy and his Instagram posts. I don't want to dox any of my friends over here, but like, Pettersson was posting a whole bunch of swagged out content, and you can see that he was living that influencer lifestyle, him with the fashion and the BB No Money and the Michael Bublé. Like, this was a cool dude, and I feel like Pettersson, there's a part of him that likes that stuff. And I'm not saying that he doesn't like it anymore, but I am saying that we did stop seeing that over the course of the past few years, especially nowadays with Elias underperforming on his contract. I feel like any sort of post where he's going out there with, like, I don't know, he's wearing goalie equipment or he's posing downtown with some cool, expensive clothes, any of these posts would be greeted with levels of criticism that this guy is not used to and quite frankly would want to avoid. He didn't have to deal with that when he was a rookie because he was good. When he was scoring 100 points a year, he was good. But now it's like, well, now he's making 11.6. You're going out there and posting these influencers type photos on Instagram? Dial it back, Petey. Why don't you? And a part of me does think that if he's in LA, that's probably a lot more, I don't want to say encouraged, but it's easier for him to do that and explore that creative side to himself without the risk of getting heavily criticized like he would be in Vancouver. If the Kings get him, like, I'm not saying the Kings fans are not as passionate as Vancouver fans, but in LA, there's a little bit more of a pass, I would say, for that sort of behavior. Anyways, that's just me and my thoughts rambling about Elias Pettersson being a potential LA King. The point is, the trade call has been confirmed by Farhan Lalji on Donnie and Dolly last week, and you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about all of that? PD to LA, thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.